Okay, in the last lecture, we were discussing about the characteristics of wastewater. Okay, in that first we have discussed physical characteristics. In that physical characteristic, we discussed color, taste, odor, temperature. Okay, then pH. Then I think we are about to start the chemical characteristics of water. Okay, so the first chemical characteristic of water is the pH. Okay, pH. Since childhood we are learning about the pH. What indicates pH? The nature of water, whether it is alkaline or acidic. pH value denotes the acidic or alkaline conditions of water. Okay, it is expressed on a scale ranging from 0 to 14, which is the common logarithm of the reciprocal of the hydrogen ion concentration present into water. Okay, the recommended pH range for treated drinking water is 6.5 to 8.5. Okay, this is about the pH. So pH, you know, the negative log to the base 10. Okay, now here in the pH value, we know that there is a range between 0 to 14, and 7 is the neutral, 0 is the acidic, and 14 is the alkaline. So you should remember acidic, neutral, and alkaline. Okay, so why the pH? What is the significance of pH? Why we should go for the pH test? Basically, whenever there is the pH changes in a water, the reaction rate of the chemicals changes. Means whatever the coagulants or other chemicals we are using for to treat the water, and for that purpose the chemical reactions needs to be performed, and the various chemical reactions changes as per the pH range. So as per the requirement of reactions, we need to change the pH of water. But fundamentally for the drinking purpose, the drinking water pH must be in the range of 6.5 to 8.5. Remember that line. The pH range should be in the range of 6.5 to 8.5. Some of the students used to say that pH should be neutral for drinking purpose. It is not possible to have the pH at 7 exactly forever time. But the acceptable range is allowed in a 6.5 to 8.5. Above 8.5, it will be considered as a alkaline, and below 6.5, it will be considered as a acidic. Okay. Then the next characteristic of water is, excuse me, let me erase this. pH can be measured in a different by using the different what we can say equipments. First, when we were kids in a science class, 5 to 5th to 7th, at that time there was a experiment can be performed to check the pH by using the litmus paper. Okay, blue litmus paper and red litmus paper, is it? And then there are these some other equipments. First equipment is the analytical pH meter, digital pH meter, or portable pH meter. Portable pH meter in the sense simply you can dip into the water and check the pH. Analytical pH meter or the digital pH meter, first you need to go for the calibration of that equipment by using the standard solutions. Standard solutions in the sense, readily available pH solutions will be available. From acidic, you can take almost 4 pH solution. From alkaline, you can take 9.2 pH solution, and neutral, you can take 7 pH solution. So these three jars you can fill with the water. Okay, fill with these samples, and whatever the digital pH meter you are taking for the treatment for analysis, that rod you can dip into the neutral and check the value of pH on the display board. It should show 7. Then remove it, clean it, and again dip into the 4 pH. Here it should show 4. Then again remove it, clean it, and dip into the 9.2 pH solution. Then it should display 9.2. Likewise, the pH meter, whatever the rod you are using for the testing or the sample, it will get calibrated. This method is known as the calibration of pH. So this calibration needs to be done before the checking the any sample for the testing purpose. Okay. So this way you can test the pH by using the pH meter. The equipment which can be used to test the pH is pH meter. Okay. Remember that. Then we'll see the next one. We'll see next one parameter, that is acidity. The acidity of water is a measure of capacity to neutralize the bases. Okay, acidity neutralize the bases, alkalinity neutralize the acidity. Is it? So the acidity of water may be caused by the presence of uncombined carbon dioxide, mineral acids, and salts of strong acids and weak bases. It is expressed as milligram per liter in terms of calcium carbonate. Acidity is nothing but representation of carbon dioxide or carbonic acids in a water. Carbon dioxide causes corrosion in public water supply system. Okay, so the acidity, how you can go to perform. Acidity, I think you understood what is the acidity. I'm explaining this with a theoretical method first, and then I will explain, the way we perform the experiments. So all these parameters we are performing as experiments in the laboratory. Okay, it is the part of your syllabus. But due to coronavirus, you are not coming to the college and we are not performing the experiments. And that's why it is taking time to explain what is that exactly to you people. Okay, acidity, we are performing experiment. You are in a 12th, no, sorry, you are in a second year. So 11th, 12th, you might have performed the experiments in a chemistry laboratory. Okay, where you are performing, taking the burette, pipette, then tripod stand, then burette stand, then conical flask, beaker, all these equipments. Okay, so by using these equipments, when you are titrating and finding the particular parameter, it is known as the what we say, titration method. Speak out, guys, please. This is known as the titration method. So acidity we can find out by using the titration method. Okay, in that you can take a sample in a conical flask, a desired amount of sample. You can take, assume 10 ml sample into conical flask, then add phenolphthalein indicator, titrate against, you are finding acidity means titrate against the alkaline solution, NaOH solution, 0.01 normal NaOH solution, you titrate against NaOH solution, then again add the methyl orange indicator in the same sample, again titrate against the alkaline solution, and then that will be amount of volume consumed for getting indicate the amount of acidity present into that. Then put that value of volume in a equation, and then find out acidity in milligram per liter in terms of calcium carbonate. Acidity, one thing you should remember, the unit can be used to measure the acidity is the milligram per liter, and it can be measured as in terms of calcium carbonate value. Okay, so excess amount of carbon dioxide always causes the corrosion to the public water supply scheme. Okay, that also factor you need to remember here in this slide. Then the next one is the alkalinity. Okay, another chemical parameter is the alkalinity. The alkalinity of water is a measure of its capacity to neutralize acids, same as the alkalinity. Okay, acidity. It is expressed as milligram per liter in terms of calcium carbonate. अल्कलिनिटी आणि ऍसिडिटी दोन्ही प्रकारच्या टेस्ट या सेम फॉर्मॅटनी केल्या जातात. ओनली द थिंग यू नीड टू चेंज द sequence. And when you are finding acidity, you should titrate it against the alkaline solution. And that's why I told you titrant in the finding the alkalinity will be 0.01 normal NaOH solution. Whereas in a alkalinity, when you are finding alkalinity, same method will be there. And here you need to take the titrant as a base or acid. And that that can be usually hydroxide, usually HCl or H2SO4 we can use in a 0.01 normal form. Okay. It is expressed in milligram per liter because here also we are performing this experiment by using the titration method. Milligram per liter in a calcium carbonate form. The various forms of alkalinity are hydroxide alkalinity, carbonate alkalinity, hydroxide plus carbonate alkalinity, carbonate plus bicarbonate alkalinity, and bicarbonate alkalinity, which is useful mainly in water softening and boiler feed water processes. Okay, so alkalinity is an important parameter in evaluating the optimum coagulant dose. Coagulation process changes as per the change in pH value. Is it if the neutral pH value is there, the requirement of coagulant will be different. Requirement of quantum of coagulant will be different. For alkaline nature, it will be different, and for acidic, it will be different. So alkalinity plays a major role in the coagulation process. In alkaline nature, coagulation works effectively with a low dose. Okay, so this is about the alkalinity. The alkalinity of water is a measure of its capacity to neutralize the acid. It can be measured in a milligram per liter in terms of calcium carbonate. Okay, hydroxide alkalinity, carbonate alkalinity, hydroxide plus carbonate alkalinity, carbonate plus bicarbonate alkalinity, and another one is the bicarbonate alkalinity. There are different forms as per the minerals available into the water. The form will change. Alkalinity form will change. Okay. Then the next one is the hardness. If water consumes hardness, about hardness we have discussed, still we will discuss more here in detail. So what we can say hardness? If water consumes excessive soap to produce lather, it is said to be hard. Okay. Hardness is caused by divalent metallic cations. The principal hardness causing cations are calcium, magnesium, strontium, ferrous, and manganese sulfate. Okay. The major anions associated with the cations are sulfates, carbonates, bicarbonates, chlorides, and nitrates. The total hardness of water is defined as the sum of calcium and magnesium concentrations, both expressed as calcium carbonate and magnesium carbonate in milligram per liter. Okay. So in simple language, I will explain what is hardness. The excess amount of salts present into water, which changes the water properties towards, it will restrict, it will not allow to form the lather when you are using a soap. ओके, आपण कधी कधी बघतो बघा, बोरचं पाणी असेल किंवा जनरली गावाकडचं पाणी हे बोरचंच पाणी असतं किंवा विहिरीचं पाणी असतं. तिथं कपडे धुताना तुमच्या लक्षात आलं असेल कधीतरी की देर विल नॉट बी द सफिशियंट अमाऊंट ऑफ फोम इज फॉर्मिंग. बरोबर आहे. इन्स्टेड ऑफ दॅट तुम्हाला थोडे छोटे छोटे असे फ्लॉक दिसायला सुरुवात होती ते कपडे धुतल्यानंतर, ज्या गाठी झाल्यासारख्या, त्या साबणाच्या पाण्याच्या गाठी झाल्यासारख्या. सो वाय इट इज बिकमिंग हॅपनिंग? बिकॉज द वॉटर इज हार्ड and it starts reacting with the soap and not allowing to perform their own job. Okay, this is hardness. Generally there are two types of hardness. One is the temporary hardness and another is the permanent hardness. Who will tell me the difference between temporary hardness and permanent hardness? something from your side now? So it will not be remain as a one side of session. You have studied this in a first year class. What is mean by hardness, or what is the difference between temporary hardness and permanent hardness? बोलणार आहे का कुणी? You have already studied that. Speak out, guys. Snehal Patil, Sonali Nikam, Sunil Bhosle, Suraj Javeri, Sachin Rokde, Shraddha Gore. Speak out, someone. Do you know? If you don't know, you can say no. I will go ahead and I will explain. Jnaneshwari Gosavi. Don't be sit idle like this in class. Guys, please speak out.
Ma'am, explain.
You don't know? Okay, if you guys don't know, I will explain. No issue. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Temporary hardness and permanent hardness. There are two types of hardness. 1 second. Temporary hardness. To what we can say temporary hardness? When hardness comes to the water due to the presence of calcium and magnesium in a different form. Okay. So what is the temporary hardness? Temporary hardness coming to the water. Okay, this is the temporary hardness, this is the permanent hardness. Both are coming due to calcium and magnesium. Calcium and magnesium. Now, when it is in a different form, it will cause temporary and permanent. What is the temporary hardness? When carbonates and bicarbonates of calcium and magnesium are present into water, then it causes temporary hardness. Then it causes temporary hardness. Whereas nitrates and sulfates usually cause of calcium and magnesium is there, then it causes the permanent hardness. Okay, can you please remember this? Once again I will tell you. Hardness causes to the water due to presence of calcium and magnesium in a different form. There are two types of hardness. One is the temporary hardness, another is the permanent hardness. Temporary hardness can causes because of the presence of carbonates and bicarbonate forms of the calcium and magnesium, whereas permanent hardness causes due to the sulfates and nitrates of the calcium and magnesium. Okay, now the temporary hardness is can be removed easily by simple boiling process or by simple adding of lime water, okay, it starts forming the precipitate. Means you can perform this experiment in your house, that you can take a simple water, plain water, and keep for boiling, and get it boil up to 5 minutes. Means after starting the boiling, allow to boil it up to 5 minutes, and then put off the flame. Then while starting cooling, it will be, you will be able to observe that white color precipitate starts settling down at the bottom. White color precipitate starts settling down at the bottom. Why? Because it is the permanent temporary hardness has been converted into a precipitate of calcium and magnesium. Okay, so where it can be removed, then you can let it be settled down, and the supernatant liquid or water you can take for the drinking purpose. With simply boiling method or application of lime, you can remove the temporary hardness, but permanent hardness we cannot remove by simple boiling method. Okay, so for the removal of permanent hardness, we need to apply some specific methods. And what are these methods? Zeolite method, ion exchange method, reverse osmosis method. Such kinds of methods you need to apply for the removal of permanent hardness. Okay, so this is the difference between two types of hardness. Okay. Now, India standard value for drinking water is allowed 300 milligram per liter, 300 milligram per liter as a calcium carbonate form. Okay. So this is about the hardness. So these are the chemical parameters present into water. Now we will talk about the bacteriological characteristics. Third type, is it? Bacterial examination of water is very important since it indicates the degree of pollution. Chemical or physical parameters will not affect dangerously, or immediate effect may not be observed due to the presence of physical and chemical parameters. Whereas due to the presence of bacteriological parameters, immediate effect will be observed on the human being. Water polluted by the sewage contain one or more species of disease producing pathogenic bacteria. That difference also I told you. There are two types of bacteria in a water. One is the pathogenic bacteria, another is the non-pathogenic bacteria. Pathogenic bacteria will cause harm to the human being. Non-pathogenic bacteria are not harmful to the human being. Okay, but in a water, it is quite difficult to find out the pathogenic bacteria, as the process bacteria is. That's why what we do usually, how we test water. Yeah. Hello. Excuse me. Am I audible
Yes,
to you
ma'am.
guys? There was a call,
Yes,
so it
ma'am.
was disconnected. Yeah. Thank you. I was talking about the pathogenic bacteria and non-pathogenic bacteria. In a water, there are two types of bacteria. One form is known as the pathogenic bacteria. Another is the non-pathogenic bacteria. Pathogenic bacteria in the sense which are harmful to the human being. non-pathogenic bacteria which are not harmful to the human being. Okay, but for finding, when you are going to taste the water, likewise the chemical test, physical test, you need to test for biological also, biological parameter also. But when you go to test biological, perform the biological test to find out pathogenic bacteria, the process is complicated and it will take a lot of time. And because of that, the process for the treatment gets delayed. Instead of that, we can determine the number of non-pathogenic bacteria present into water. आता तुम्ही म्हणाल की नॉन पॅथोजेनिक बॅक्टेरिया किती आहेत हे काढून काय उपयोग आहे आपल्याला, पॅथोजेनिक बॅक्टेरिया हार्मफुल आहेत तर त्याच काढल्या पाहिजेत. But there is a relation between pathogenic bacteria and non-pathogenic bacteria. What is that relation? Pathogenic bacteria non-pathogenic bacteria survive in a water little more time than the pathogenic bacteria. I will repeat my sentence. Non-pathogenic bacteria survive in a water for a longer time than the pathogenic bacteria. Hence, if we test for the non-pathogenic bacteria, we came to know if the non-pathogenic bacteria are absent, that indicates the pathogenic bacteria are also absent. Are you getting? Are you getting? You get that, guys?
No, ma'am.
Okay, good. You should ask. Then only I will be able to tell. No. There are two types of bacteria. हे तरी कळालं. एक pathogenic bacteria आणि एक another is the non-pathogenic bacteria. कोलिफॉर्म असतात बॅक्टेरियाचे. पॅथोजेनिक बॅक्टेरियाचा कोलिफॉर्म असतो तो ह्युमन बिंग साठी हार्मफुल असतो. नॉन पॅथोजेनिक बॅक्टेरियाचा कोलिफॉर्म असतो तो अजिबात हार्मफुल नसतो ह्युमन बिंग साठी. बरोबर आहे. तर आता इथं आपल्याला तुम्ही जसं केमिकल किंवा फिजिकल टेस्ट करताय, टेस्ट ओडर, टेम्परेचर, ऍसिडिटी, अल्कलिनिटी, हार्डनेस, या टेस्ट जसं तुम्ही लॅबोरेटरीमध्ये करताय तशा बायोलॉजिकल टेस्ट सुद्धा लॅबोरेटरीमध्ये करता येतात आणि केल्या पाहिजेत वॉटरचं अनालिसिस करण्यासाठी. मग आता तुम्हाला जेव्हा बॅक्टेरियल टेस्ट करायची आहे त्यावेळेस तुम्ही काय काढलं पाहिजे, तर पॅथोजेनिक बॅक्टेरिया आहेत का नाहीत हे काढलं पाहिजे. मग पॅथोजेनिक बॅक्टेरिया जर काढायचं झालं तर काय होतं की ती प्रोसेस आहे ती फार कॉम्प्लिकेटेड आहे आणि ते सहजासहजी तिथं पॅथोजेनिक बॅक्टेरियाचे कोलिफॉर्म हे फार व्हरायटीचे असतात आणि त्याच्यामुळे काय होतं की ते आयडेंटिफाय होत नाहीत लवकर आणि इट विल टेक लॉट ऑफ टाइम आणि पुढे जे आपल्याला प्रोसेस करायची असते ट्रीटमेंट देऊन मग ते पब्लिक सप्लाय करायचं, दॅट प्रोसेस गेट्स डिले. इन्स्टेड ऑफ दॅट वी कॅन टेस्ट नॉन पॅथोजेनिक बॅक्टेरिया. मी आता जसं सांगितलं की पॅथोजेनिक बॅक्टेरिया हार्मफुल आहेत आणि आपण नॉन पॅथोजेनिक बॅक्टेरिया प्रेझेंट आहेत का नाही हे टेस्ट का करतो, तर देयर इज अ रिलेशन बिटवीन पॅथोजेनिक बॅक्टेरिया अँड नॉन पॅथोजेनिक बॅक्टेरिया. तर काय रिलेशन आहे पॅथोजेनिक आणि नॉन पॅथोजेनिक बॅक्टेरियाचं, तर जो सर्वायवल टाइम आहे तो पॅथोजेनिक बॅक्टेरियापेक्षा नॉन पॅथोजेनिक बॅक्टेरियाचा जास्त आहे. म्हणजे समजा जर पॅथोजेनिक बॅक्टेरिया 1 आवर सर्वाइव्ह होऊ शकत असतील वॉटरमध्ये, तर नॉन पॅथोजेनिक बॅक्टेरिया 1 आवर अँड 10 मिनिट सर्वाइव्ह होऊ शकतात. मग जर आपण नॉन पॅथोजेनिक बॅक्टेरियाची टेस्ट केली आणि नॉन पॅथोजेनिक बॅक्टेरिया जर ऍबसेंट असतील तर काय इंडिकेट होतं की हे वॉटर प्युअर आहे, याच्यामधल्या पॅथोजेनिक बॅक्टेरिया ऑलरेडी मरून गेलेल्या आहेत. कळालं का? पण जर पॅथोजेनिक बॅक्टेरिया प्रेझेंट असतील तर त्या किती प्रमाणात प्रेझेंट आहेत आणि त्याच्या अगेन्स्ट मग नॉन पॅथोजेनिक बॅक्टेरिया जर प्रेझेंट असतील तर त्या किती प्रमाणात प्रेझेंट आहेत मग आणि त्याच्या अगेन्स्ट पॅथोजेनिक बॅक्टेरिया किती प्रेझेंट असू शकतील हा अंदाज काढता येतो. सो वी परफॉर्म द टेस्ट फॉर द नॉन पॅथोजेनिक बॅक्टेरिया इन्स्टेड ऑफ पॅथोजेनिक बॅक्टेरिया. Non-pathogenic bacteria like E. coli, B. coli, these are the group of members and that is known as the coliform group. Also live in intestinal tract of the human being. म्हणजे ह्या ज्या नॉन पॅथोजेनिक बॅक्टेरिया आहेत त्या आपल्या इंटेस्टाईन मध्ये सुद्धा प्रेझेंट असतात, म्हणजेच त्या हार्मफुल नाहीत आणि त्या जर वॉटर मध्ये प्रेझेंट असतील तरी पण आपल्याला काय हार्म करत नाही. पण ई कोलाय प्रेझेंट आहे किंवा नॉन पॅथोजेनिक बॅक्टेरिया प्रेझेंट आहे म्हणजेच काय असतं तर पॅथोजेनिक बॅक्टेरिया प्रेझेंट असण्याची शक्यता आहे. पण ई कोलाय ऍबसेंट आहे तर पॅथोजेनिक बॅक्टेरिया पण तिथं ऍबसेंट आहेत. दॅट इज देर इज अ रिलेशन बिटवीन देम. सो वी परफॉर्म द टेस्ट फॉर द non-pathogenic bacteria, and that test is known as most probable number. In short, we can say it is a MPN. Okay, most probable number. In short, we can say it is a MPN. कळालं आता? Okay, coliform itself is not a harmful group, but it has more resistance to adverse condition than any other group. So if it is ensured to minimize the number of coliforms, the harmful species will be very less.